Welcome into 5 Wide for props and locks for week 2 of the NFL season. Last week, a 2-1 finish, so off to a good start here for the NFL season, guys. If you do want more plays, I drop them on my Twitter as well. I'll include that in the description. If you guys want to follow me on there, we'll definitely have more. And we also preview the entire slate on Sunday morning, 11 a.m., helping with fantasy advice, helping with betting picks as well, and going through each and every game with a preview. So follow us on Twitch there. It's at OwnersBox Sports. We got 3 plays. I've got a side and 2 player props for you. We'll get into all of these. If you guys do enjoy the video, if it is helpful, if I've helped you make some money, would really appreciate if you did hit that like button down below and as well subscribe to the channel. We'll get into our first play here. It is the Falcons on the money line at home against the Packers. If you want to take them at anything less than 2 points, I would be comfortable with that as well. If you want to avoid paying, like usually right now it's like minus 118, minus 120, the prices on this one. But I really like this matchup for Atlanta. Atlanta continues to run the ball at a really high rate. I would be comfortably say they'll run the ball at the highest rate in the entire league by the end of the season. They had just 22 dropbacks and 18 pass attempts for Desmond Ridder in week 1. I don't expect that to change too much. Green Bay is a really good matchup for them. They're a team that really struggled against the run last season. They were 28th in EPA per rush. And they also gave up 5 yards per carry, which was 28th in the league last season as well. Now, despite the success and the win in week 1 against Chicago, they were still 21st in EPA per rush against Chicago. So didn't do too well there, but obviously for Chicago, they weren't able to run the ball too much in that trailing game script. I don't expect that to be the case with the Falcons because, again, Green Bay is a team that didn't change much of anything in their front 7 when you look at the guys in the linebacking core and then as well the guys in the front 4. It's the same unit, so I don't expect a significant or drastic change or increase in production against the run. I think this will still be a team throughout the season that struggles against the run. And on the other side of the ball, Love operated in a ton of clean pockets in week 1. He was pressured on less than 20% of his dropbacks. That's not something I think this team will see very often. I know this is a good Packers offensive line, no doubt, but I don't expect the clean pockets to be as constant in this matchup with the Falcons. The Falcons beefed up their front 4. They added Calais Campbell in the offseason. I don't think this is a really elite unit in the NFL when it comes to getting after the passer, but they look good in week 1. A 42.9% pressure rate was 8th in the NFL. They didn't need to blitz much to do it either. They blitzed on less than 20% of plays. So they've generated pressure with their front 4. I think they could do that at a much better rate than Chicago did, who has one of the weaker defensive lines in the NFL. So I like the Falcons here. I think this is an opportunistic defense that proved it against a rookie quarterback last week in Bryce Young, forcing a couple of turnovers. We've got an experienced Jordan Love here going on the road to Atlanta. I think this is way too much respect the Packers are getting here off of a week 1 win against an underwhelming Bears team. The Falcons are a team that are going to play in a ton of close games because they run the ball so effectively, and they're going to take care of the football, and I think that'll be the difference here, and they win this game at home and cover if you want to take a minus 1.5, but I would prefer taking them on the money line. Second play here, we're going to Los Angeles and Tennessee. The Titans are at home against the Chargers. I'm taking Mike Williams over 56.5 receiving yards. So a lot to get into with this play. Last week, Mike Williams posted 45 receiving yards on 4 receptions, and he received 5 targets. But he did leave the game before the end of the first half with going into concussion protocol. So did miss some snaps. I think he missed probably about 10 routes he probably would have ran in this game, which could have obviously helped him go over what this number would have been last week. But the Chargers ran the ball incredibly well in week 1. They ran the ball 36 times for 234 yards, averaged 6.5 yards per carry. But now they get a Titans defense, which I think is the best in the NFL against the run. They gave up just 69 rushing yards last week on 2.7 yards per carry. Jamal Williams couldn't run the ball whatsoever. Chargers also dealing with an injury to Austin Eckler. They could be without him and relying on Joshua Kelly and Isaiah Spiller, which I think we'll see them run the ball a little bit less just because of that. But because of this matchup in particular, they'll definitely be running the ball at a much, much lighter rate. And for Justin Herbert, he posted 312 passing yards, 313 passing yards against the Titans last year on 42 pass attempts. So this is just what teams do. They throw the ball a ton against this Titans team. I don't expect that to change here for the Chargers with Justin Herbert at QB and some really good pass protection. Now, for Herbert, the reason I'm not playing this over in passing yards is this number is priced pretty high as it is. It's in like I think it's around 280. But for Williams in that matchup against Tennessee last year posted 67 receiving yards on 4 receptions, so went over what this number was. But Williams' line after that match against Miami is actually lower. Like last week, it was over at 58.5. This week, it's at 56.5. And this is a game where I think they'll be throwing the ball way, way more. So I think this is a line that's not priced correctly because, again, Williams missed a little bit of time last week. They didn't throw the ball as much. This week, he'll likely be on the field, hopefully for all 4 quarters, and as well, the passing volume will be way higher. And the Titans secondary could be missing a few pieces. Christian Fulton's been limited in practice. Amani Hooker has missed practice, who's the safety for the Titans. Because of being in concussion protocol, he might not play. And this Tennessee defense really struggled against the pass last year. They were 28th in EPA per pass attempts for opposing offenses. So I like what the Chargers can do in the passing game. The volume should be there. And I like Williams as that downfield threat here to be able to make some plays and go over this number without even needing a lot of receptions because of this Chargers pass protection and ability to create some clean pockets for Herbert to be able to look downfield to Williams too. All right, third and final play. The Broncos and the Commanders. I wanted to play Russell Wilson over completions, but that line hasn't dropped yet, so I'll probably be playing that. If you follow me on Twitter, I'll probably be sharing that play later this week. But what I'm going to do instead, which correlates well with this, the completions for Russell Wilson going over, is Javonte Williams under 48.5 rushing yards in this game. So he cleared this number last week, 52 rushing yards on 13 attempts. But the important thing to pay attention to here when you're looking at this under is he had an even snap share with Samaje Perine, 29 snaps apiece. So Perine also was more efficient in his rushing attempts. He averaged 5.1 yards per carry, while Williams averaged just 4 yards per carry. So maybe we see Perine a little bit more involved in the rushing game where Javonte had the advantage last week. But to me, what speaks more volumes to wanting to play this under is the matchup with Washington's defense and their defensive front. It's a nightmare for running backs being able to run the ball. They ranked 3rd in EPA against the run last season. When you've got De'Aaron Payne and Jonathan Allen in the middle of that defense, in the middle of that defensive line, it's going to be really, really tough to get past that line of scrimmage and generate efficient production. So I think the efficiency is going to be an issue here for this running game. I think volume will also be tough because I think this forces Denver to go to the air a little bit more often. That's why I like Russell Wilson to go over his completions as well. The only thing in my mind that keeps this thing from going under will be if the Commanders' offense just doesn't have any pulse and they struggle to stay in this game and the Broncos are in a positive game script or leading by double digits where they can just run the ball and look to burn out clock late in this one. But ultimately, when I look at this number at almost 50 yards in a running back that's in a bad matchup, usually when I see running backs around this 50-yard mark in a bad matchup, I'm looking to play their under. But then with Williams, we also have this split backfield that I don't think is going away anytime soon, with Williams making his return from his ACL tear. So for me, this is kind of an easy spot to look at and definitely want to play the under on Javonte Williams rushing yards. Okay, those are my 3 favorite plays for the Week 2 NFL slate. I actually already have a couple more plays that I posted earlier this week. If you do want to get on, again, follow me there on Twitter if you want to check those out. And as well, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you did enjoy today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you on the next one.